Welcome, everyone, to the first ever Mobile on Air. We're really excited to get this kicked off. This is a virtual gathering for the mobile community. So brought to you by our partners, which you see here. Thank you to Airship, Amplitude, Branch, Braze, Mixpanel, mParticle, Radar Segment, and WillowTree for being sponsors. Again, we're really excited to get this going. We're going to gather today. We have over 2,800 of us. We've all assembled virtually, and we're going to tackle a few exciting subjects, spanning from what does it mean to be a digital leader to what does the future of mobile look like. We're going to discuss how we can expand customer engagement, improving user experiences, how to focus products on privacy, and really evolve our mobile strategies amidst a global pandemic. The stakes are high in digitization right now, and we're going to really address some of the best practices that we've collected today. So we're going to get into the content soon, but first, just a few introductions here. My name is Nate Wooten. I am part of WillowTree. We're a digital product agency, and I'm the director of product innovation. So I'm passionate at the ideation phase of an experience. So when we have to generate and evaluate new concepts, that's where I like to play. And I'd like to introduce my colleague, Billie Loewen, here too.
Hi, I'm Billie. I'm the director of growth at WillowTree. So my passion is when digital products reach the marketplace, finding the right strategies to scale users, to engage them, and to ultimately change behaviors to drive greater value and long-term value from each user.
Awesome. And so we both work at a company called WillowTree. So we call ourselves a digital product consultancy. Real quickly, just an intro on who we are. We really like to bridge high-quality customer experiences with enterprise-grade stability and performance. So we have a saying we throw around: we build software that matters. So when software has a high degree of criticality, it directly affects business revenue and needs to just be highly performant. That's where we like to play. FYI, we were founded in 2008. At the dawn of mobile. We've since met client needs by explaining to cover a multitude of platforms ranging from web, mobile, TV, media, voice experience is new. And just FYI, again, we like to play when criticality is high. We recently partnered with Fox to build the apps that streamed this year's Super Bowl. So just to give you an idea. And as you can see here, we offer a few different capabilities along the product development lifecycle, ranging from research and strategy to design, development, and growth marketing, which is Billie's expertise. So just to share a little bit of our personalities, we really believe that the integration of all these capabilities is what makes great user experiences. So our designers, for example, know the complexities of development, and vice versa, which really generates the culture of our over 500 onshore talent and resources. So that's it. We'll jump into the content. Just a few housekeeping items here. Big thanks to Hopin for supporting this virtual conference. They have a few features for you to play around with today, and we encourage you to explore. On the left side of your screen here, you'll see different ways you can engage throughout the day. So we're on the main stage here. We have different side sessions you can jump into. Again, there's 2,800 of us practitioners from mid to senior level titles in the product space. App developers, feel free to network in some of these side rooms, be bold and explore some of the virtual rooms. On the right, we have more chat experiences. So if you need support, we have event organizers who are willing to answer some of your questions. So without further ado, we'll kick it off by talking a little bit about digital leadership. So I'll hand it over to Billie to get us started.
So before we jump into learning about individual technology platforms and what they can do to drive digital experience and to drive revenue for the business, before we hear from some great business leaders who have transformed both what it means to build an online experience as well as engage customers, I wanted to just take a moment to anchor us around this idea of what is a digital leader and how does technology play into that idea. So I think in the simplest terms, what it means to be a digital leader is that you are able to transcend all sorts of barriers to build a digital product experience that drives revenue for the company it represents. So it's so effective at engaging users that it ultimately becomes a source of profitability for the company, as well as something that's valuable and useful to everyone who engages with it every day. But before we kind of move away from this high-level view, I want to just talk for a moment about what it means to drive growth through marketing. There are basically three ways to do it. So the first way is through positioning. This would be things like Abercrombie using naked models to sell clothes to teenage girls.
Or boys, right, Billie?
Yeah, or boys, though Abercrombie's positioning downfall might be blamed on their lack of inclusivity and how they determined their market position, versus somebody like Dove, who went from being a brand that showed models lathering up in the shower to seeing a need in the market for more diverse and inclusive definitions of beauty, and that has since accelerated their growth as a global brand. The second way to drive growth with marketing is through incremental means. So this is a channel-by-channel, tactic-by-tactic approach to either cut costs, improve efficiency, and drive performance, small metrics at a time, constantly improving so that the aggregate sum of all of that growth amounts to something pretty great. And then there's method number 3. So quick audience poll. The picture in the top and the picture in the bottom are of the same city 50 years apart. Do you know which city this is?
My guess is Shanghai.
Oh, Nate, you're such a perfect audience participant. Thank you. Yes, this is Shanghai. So Shanghai went through one of the greatest and most accelerated rates of growth in human history, and how they were able to accomplish modernizing so rapidly over such a short period of time, you could argue was a number of different things. But essentially, they looked at U.S. infrastructure, they looked at U.S. technology, they looked at banking systems, they looked at railroads and ways of organizing human development, and they mimicked that technological capability, and they saw the fastest growth on, essentially human record. Technology can be a really powerful driver of growth when it's paired properly with the idea of user needs, tactic by tactic responses, and then brand positioning. So I'm guessing that everyone here today has some level of leadership responsibility in one or more of these areas, either positioning, incremental growth across channels, or technology. But I think what it really means to be a digital leader is transcending any individual strategy to really focus on user experiences and building user experiences that are out of this world. We know now that excellent user experiences are not just sort of like nice to haves, but they're true drivers of revenue. They are the thing that drive more valuable consumers, greater loyalty, and higher operating margins for companies. Companies who have focused in on creating excellent experiences for their users are now outperforming their competitors almost 2-to-1. So that means that before it was case in point proven that a great experience drove business outcomes, the companies who chose to invest in those regions are now turning into leaders in their markets. And then what we see is those who create great experiences also reap the reward channel by channel incrementally as well, driving sort of a 15% increase in revenue simply by introducing mobile tactics like push and growing the lifetime value of their customers by impressive margins. So what is the problem that digital leaders have to overcome? In hearing from our clients, one of the biggest challenges that we consistently hear about is how to create a consistent and winning user experience. And that's because at most organizations, user experience is separated into 3 different silos that sometimes have 0 overlap and sometimes have a lot of overlap. And the greater the overlap between marketing teams, product teams, and IT, the better that experience feels to users. But in most organizations, not only do these teams not collaborate day to day with a shared vision, they sometimes don't talk at all and sit in completely separate silos. But in reality, to create an out of this world user experience, you have to bring these three components together. You have to transcend the barriers that often separate them to have a shared vision around what technology capabilities do we need to drive experience? How do we use technology to drive engagement across incremental channels and our brand? And how do we use a product experience that's optimized to ultimately drive conversion and more valuable behaviors? So if you're looking at this and you're thinking, oh my gosh, this is great, this is grand, we'd love to be closer, but like this is not really the problem that we have, and you're sort of wondering, where do we even start? Where do we get the vision? Where do we get the business case for undergoing some of the initiatives that would lead to greater user experiences? The answer is starting with users' problems.
Exactly. And so we thought we'd share, I know we're all here to build great experiences. I thought we'd share one trick we've used recently to really help us make sure we're building technology on needs that are valid with our users. Just sharing a few stats here. Projects that have an idea first approach. So imagine stakeholders in a boardroom imagining what if we built this, have about a 5% success rate versus projects that really pause and take a problem first approach see about an 86% success rate. So what does that look like exactly? Well, we use the jobs to be done framework to really create a rapid build, measure, learn cycle to make sure we're building the right thing. So we're going to pretend we're inventing the future of television. So what jobs might our audience have in order to find something new to watch? So we did an internal project where we collected these jobs. For example, one participant said, well, I want to find something that both my boo and I want to watch. Sometimes I'll spend 20 minutes trying to find something on TV that we both want to watch, which is hard. Someone else said, well, I want to see what my friends are currently watching. That's how I draw inspiration. So you can get the sense that we've collected all these jobs, and these are true needs that can serve as a foundation for technology. And we compiled them into a journey map. I'm sure you all have seen your share of journey maps. And I don't know about you, but my problem with journey maps is they're somewhat anecdotal, and I'm not really sure where the priority is. Where is the action? So that's where this framework's really come helpful. If we measure the importance of each job in completing a desired outcome, and then the satisfaction, how satisfied are you with current tools in the market, we get a gap here. And that gap is then our opportunity score. So jobs that are important with a low degree of satisfaction have a high opportunity score. So you can see the job on the left side of the screen. I need to find something to watch that both me and my partner like. That job is one of the most, has the highest opportunity scores, and you can start then coming up with features that we can plug into, such as a watch together experience. So we just have 2 minutes left before we get into our keynote. So I'll hand it over to Billie to really set the scene for the rest of the day.
So once you have the features to be built, the important thing is making sure that at every touch point with consumers, you're collecting data and leveraging it responsibly as a marketer. One of the things that we know is that people are willing to share their data if in return you give them a better and more personalized experience. But so often what we see happening out in the enterprise, and one of the differences, that data isn't always easy to leverage to make product decisions or to make marketing decisions. But today's digital leaders, we need to have 4 components consistently at the core of who we are and what we're doing. And each of these components is really about transcending all of the different barriers and silos that can sometimes step in the way of how we deliver a unified user experience through technology. So first and foremost, we have to be agile. Technology cannot take 10 years to gain value from. Our user bases are changing much too quickly, and we need to find faster ways to experiment with new technology to keep up with demand in the market. Second, we have to be able to automate our touch points based on human behaviors. So bringing in technologies like Amplitude and Braze, we can start to automate messages with a high degree of personalization so that they feel extremely relevant to the users that they're reaching. Data, likewise, has to be actionable. Gone are the days of data latency and batch and blast sends, and instead we have to work with technologies like Segment and mParticle to capture, cleanse, and make data actionable through an entire ecosystem of tools that work together in a uniform way to deliver a winning experience to consumers. So with that, I leave you with a cartoon that I think reminds us of why we're all here today. People do not care who in the organization is responsible for what kind of task. They just care that at every single touch point they have with a brand, it feels the same to them and it feels like an experience that they want to talk about. So if you haven't followed Marketunist yet, he's terrifyingly on point always.
He's great.
So high recommendation to follow. And with that, I send you back to Nate for a few more moments of housekeeping, and I hope you enjoy the day.
Yep, we'll kick things off here. We're out of time. So just calling out, if you feel lost today, feel free to check the schedule of sessions, which will spell out what to see when. And then at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, we will have a live Q&A in our virtual booth. So feel free to check that out. Signing off, this is Nate and Billy, and we're with WillowTree Product Agency.